Hello there, what is going on everyone? We're talking about Star Wars Legion today and some recent announcements with the Savage Opress character that is going to be coming, leading to some speculation that Dathomir may be seeing more people. And I want to talk about what a Dathomir Battle Force might look like in Star Wars Legion. If you guys are new here to the channel, we talk a lot about Star Wars Legion and other tabletop games, including Star Wars games, Star Trek games, sci-fi games in general, and a lot of great stuff like that. I'd love to have you stick around. We do giveaways all the time. We're doing a $25 Amazon gift card giveaway right now. I'm going to be announcing the winner to that at the end of this video, but the new round is going to start right now. So if you don't win this one, don't worry. The next giveaway starts right now. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. It's as simple as that. Let me know what you want to see out of a Dathomir Battle Force, because it's a very interesting concept. So a little recap. Earlier this week I was talking about the Savage Opress figure that was spoiled at Gen Con. A larger figure than most guys that we typically see. As you can see, the base there compared to his awesome stature. A really cool sculpt here. It looks a little cartoony for me, but I guess that's one of those risks you take when you put such a large hulking guy of a character that also never really appeared on screen in live action formats. You have to kind of figure out what he might have looked like in, because Legion kind of goes a little bit more off of like a live action version of the characters, whereas Shatterpoint is a little bit more cartoony. So this one, it looks really great. Great face on this one too. It's very, very cool. It was also teased that this will be in a 4-pack, and the fourth character that is unknown to this point will be spoiled probably at Mini Stravaganza, which is presumably going to be in November. We heard a lot of that, which led me to speculate that it might be Mother Talzin. However, a lot of you guys in the comments said, no, I don't think it's going to be Mother Talzin. It might be certain other characters. And I've seen some interesting things about that. I'm going to get back to Mother Talzin in a second, but I want to acknowledge some of the cool comments. A lot of you guys said Jango Fett was your pick, and I think that's a good one. However, I don't know if that one's completely correct, because of the fact that they said it would be Count Dooku, Asajj Ventress, Savage Opress here, and then a fourth. And I think if they're doing leaders, they might want to do 2 commanders, 2 operatives. And I feel like it'd be too operative heavy if they did Jango Fett, because he's obviously not going to be a commander. He's obviously going to be an operative. And I also think Jango Fett has enough selling power on his own to sort of headline his own box. So it was also speculated that Riff Tamson could be in there, which I think is a really good option. There was apparently some leaks too that kind of point that way, and since he did show up already, and he does give you an option for another commander, so that absolutely works, and would be a really cool person to go against a certain underwater Naboo race that shall not be named. Riff Tamson would fit the kind of the thing, so I think that one's cool. I mean, Wat Tambor is also another great option. That might not sell too well on his own. Granted, doesn't mean he wouldn't be great in the game. It doesn't mean that you guys don't want him, but they think they have to look at what's going to attract your average Star Wars fan to a product, and having Count Dooku, Asajj Ventress, and even Savage Opress might be a little bit enough to whereas Riff Tamson might not be enough on his own. Maybe Wat Tambor might not be enough on his own. Maybe, there's a couple of characters like that. If you were to bring in like a banking clan character or something, that's kind of obscure, you want to throw them in a multi-pack. You don't want to just drop them by themselves. So I think Jango Fett's probably a better guess to be by himself. Mother Talzin, possibly, but she could potentially come in a different package. So let's talk about what that Dathomirian Battle Force might look like. First thing, Mother Talzin and Night Sisters, right? These are the most obvious, I think, and there's a reason I'm not calling it a Night Sister Battle Force, even though I think they're probably the most iconic. They'd be the backbone of this Battle Force. There's not only Night Sisters there. You have Mother Talzin, you'd also have Asajj Ventress, but you're also, again, it's on Dathomir. You have access to Savage Opress. You have access to Maul. Whether or not Maul would be involved remains to be seen. It really kind of depends on, are they going to need the extra body or not? He did kind of go back to Dathomir, at multiple times. So, and he's from Dathomir. He's a Zabrak from Dathomir. Apparently, the Night Sisters are also Zabrak, but Zabrak females apparently don't have horns, or at least some of them don't have horns, because we've seen some that look Zabrak that have horns that are females as well. So it's, you know, it's kind of all over there, but they're Zabrak, right? You could even call it a Zabrak Battle Force, but I wouldn't want to go that far. I like Dathomir better because it opens the door for some more things. Now, Night Sisters, you know, they have a lot of cool options here because Mother Talzin and then the Dathomirian witches use magic. So it's like a different way of them pulling on the Force. They're not Jedi. They're not Sith. This could be a battle force that's not bound to the Separatists or any specific faction. Very much in the same way that the Shadow Collective is not bound to a specific faction. This could be a standalone battle force, and if so, they might need their own starter, and I think this is a very good way to do that. You bring in Mother Talzin, you bring in your Night Sisters, you might even also repackage certain other characters like if you wanted to put Maul in a separate box, if you want to put Savage Opress in a secondary box, if you want to have multiple ways for people to get them, if you're going to have this maybe be an entry point for somebody, maybe they don't want them to have to be forced to go buy Separatist boxes, that might be an option that they could do. I would see building two different ways. There's something, I play some Games Workshop games. I play Age of Sigmar, and one of the things they'll do is, like, you have a single core, right? If you were to have just a Night Sisters box, you could have two different units in one box. You could have them with different arm options for, like, hey, you can equip them with a bow or with a sword, right? Because clearly they have a ranged option, clearly they have a melee option, and also it looks like they have heavy weapons options and stuff like that too. So you have like specialty weapon folks that can fit into all of that. Of course, Mother Talzin brings in there's already cards called Witch Magic and stuff for Maul, so you already have precedent for her to fit right into the game. It works. It just makes sense, and so I like that. The interesting question is, would they put like Master of the Force on her just because that would happen to work? Or would they give her a different keyword and give her different upgrades? Or just let her magic be tied into her abilities and her command cards? That's a good question for you guys. I'm leaning into, since there's going to be very few characters that actually use magic from Dathomir, I would say just bake it into their character cards. Give them, kind of like how pulling the strings was its own, specialty keyword that did something very cool. You didn't have to create a whole specialty upgrade for that. So I think you could do something like that with Mother Talzin. There's not too many, Dathomirians that use extensive like magic that I think it would just be her. And the command cards offer another excellent way to do this. We also have Knight Brothers. There are a lot of Knight Brothers on Dathomir. We see a lot of this. We've seen this in the episodes where we were introduced to the village that Maul and Savage Opress came from. But we also saw this in Jedi Fallen Order and that series of games. They also have a variety of weaponry. They have melee weapons, and they also have ranged options. Again, you could be two different types of units. You could build an entire faction out of this, and it'd be very cool. Or alternatively, maybe you don't go with ranged guys here. Maybe you let the Night Sisters be the bow and arrows, and these guys are a melee option. Maybe they're a heavier melee option. They do a little more damage, and maybe they're a little slower. Maybe the Night Sisters with swords are more of your mainline melee option. Again, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Those are some of my thoughts. Plus, these guys just give you some really cool depth. And again, you wouldn't mix these with the Night Sisters. They live separately on the planet. They are by themselves. They're not gonna, they'd still be in the same battle force. They'd, fight together. We see them working together. If we go into Jedi Fallen Order, we see them working with Merrin. By the way, Merrin, great segue, another hero. If you're looking for more Night Sisters, she could also be potentially a secondary commander if you want to bring in stuff. Now, of course, this does also open the door to things like Cal Kestis and video game characters. We already have Iden Versio and Inferno Squad, so it's not any kind of stretch to think that it'd be hard or unlikely to get video game characters in the game. We've already got video game characters in Star Wars Legion. Why not a couple more, especially with the success that Cal Kestis has had, and Merrin, who has been in both Fallen Order games and will presumably be in the next, right? So we already see that. I think she could easily work as a commander. Again, you don't want to have like only one commander option for a battle force. I think Marion works really well. Of course, it stretches across eras a little bit, but if they're a standalone battle force, then that still could potentially work. It might have some licensing issues though, because she is, like a good like 19, 20 years later compared to the rest. But again, they do have a lot of options. You've got ranged options, you've got melee options, you've got commander options. You've definitely got a lot of operatives with Asajj Ventress, Maul, and also Savage Opress. You could even make Maul a commander option for this battle force too. You could do that. There's definitely some options. They also have heavy options because there are Rancors that live on Dathomir. Rancors are very cool, and we'd love to see Rancor riders. Book of Boba Fett gave people some on-screen, awesome Rancor riding options. But I'd love to see. We're getting mounted characters too. Like, I'd love to see a Night Sister on top of a Rancor. I think that would be really cool. And then there's also, of course, the really creepy and scary undead. This could be part of an entire undead wave. Look, there's also supposed to be a Geonosian battle force. We know the Geonosians also have zombies. Zombies are totally a thing in Star Wars. This was a crucial part to the Clone Wars. A really cool scene where they just rose up all these dead bodies to rise. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a unit type. This could be a command card that just does this. By the way, how fun of an effect would it be to just be like, oh, you killed all my guys. Well, guess what? They're all back for one more turn. Like, what an awesome turn 4, turn 5 play when you really need to shift the tides of battle. I could totally see that working. They could also just be a dedicated unit type, or maybe a unit type with a twist. This unit type doesn't start on the board. They actually don't take the battlefield until somebody else dies. So maybe you come in with a smaller unit, a smaller group, but as they die, you get to replace them. So you're fine if they die because you get to bring them back, right? Like, there's so many really cool mechanics they could do with stuff like this, but they may not want to do it just yet because you have Ahsoka, which brought about Thrawn and all of this stuff with the zombie stormtroopers. And with Ahsoka Season 2, slowly but surely creeping up on us, they are certainly going back to Dathomir. There's going to be more on this. So and of course, zombies is kind of one of the themes of Ahsoka. So if you're watching that Disney Plus series, it's a really cool series. Just didn't really go far enough. And Season 2 has promised to have amazing battles. I think half of the season is going to be this awesome space battle that they're dumping as much money as they possibly can into. So the space fleet junkie and Star Wars X-Wing and Armada player in me is going crazy saying, yes, give me more space stuff. But I think at that point we'll see more about the zombies. So maybe you hold off on the zombie stuff for right now. Again, it could totally work as a command card also, but I don't think you want to paint yourself into a corner. I would probably say for right now, if you were doing this as a battle force, put the zombies on hold for right now. This is my suggestion. Again, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. I'd say put them on hold for right now because you don't want to put something into the game that gets kind of superseded by a show that comes out next year. And then you're like, oh, we should have done that. And now, well, we already have this command card that makes zombies. So now we can't make a zombie unit because we can't make zombies of a zombie unit. And now then you paint yourself into a corner and then you have to okay, so rules, reference guide, entry. The zombies are the only ones that can't be reincarnated into other zombies. And, it could get complicated. So see how it plays out on TV. See what the audience thinks, see what's popular, see what works, and then reassess your options as it comes to zombies. But that's still going to be a fun option because it definitely is mentioned all over the place. Speaking of Ahsoka Season 2, we got a lot more other Dathomirian stuff. We got a trio of witches that are very like Macbeth-ish. And then, of course, Morgan Elsbeth, who is incredibly powerful martially. She's got that Beskar spear, and in The Mandalorian we see her. She's a capable fighter. A lot of different weapon options you could give her. You could give her a Beskar spear, since she had Din Djarin's Beskar spear. You could also give her the Blade of Talzin, which would also be a really cool thing. And would you treat that kind of like the Darksaber, where it can go in Mother Talzin or Morgan Elsbeth, but not both at the same time, right? There's some really cool ways that you could approach doing that. And that would be a fun one. But I think Morgan Elsbeth would potentially work. I don't know if she would be a commander or not. She definitely had some, she had some hints of kind of running things, but she was running things in service of someone else. from a certain point of view, that's what commanders do. They're serving the army in service of the emperor, or in service of Count Dooku, or whatever, in service of Mother Talzin, or in service of someone else. So it doesn't mean that she couldn't be a commander. I could see her going operative or commander, or potentially both. Or maybe you treat it just like Maul with the Darksaber. If she has the Blade of Talzin, she gets to now change her rank to commander, and maybe something like that works out. But she's an interesting character, and it does also open the door to some other alliances that we saw in Ahsoka, and another character or two that I'm sure people would love to see in Star Wars Legion, Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati, but mostly Baylan Skoll. Again, I don't know if this is really appropriate to actually be in a Dathomir Battle Force, just because he teamed with, he was friendly with some of these Night Sisters. He wasn't really fighting for their cause specifically. He was kind of using them as a means to an end. But he could, again, if you're doing all that other stuff from Ahsoka, of course, you can bring in Baylan Skoll, and I think that would totally work. And I think he, as a fan favorite, I think that's a great option. It would do well. It got a big round of applause. They already announced this for Shatterpoint, so again, I think it's an easy way to go. Those are some of my thoughts, though, on how a Dathomir Battle Force, I was about to say Dathomirian, but a Dathomir Battle Force would look. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you want to see from a Dathomir Battle Force? And are there any other battle forces that you want to see me do a deep dive on how they might look in the future? Let me know in the comments section below. We have a winner. So again, to enter to win any of my $25 Amazon gift card giveaways, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on one of my videos. And that's about it. They typically run for about 2 weeks at a time, and I'll announce the winners usually at the end of my videos. So make sure you watch my videos all the way to the end. So with that, today's winner is Chad93432. Congratulations, Chad93432. Go ahead and shoot me an email at mailcrabbok@gmail.com, and I'll get you squared away. And if you didn't win, don't worry. Next giveaway starts right now. I want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. You can also jump in our Discord and keep everything going on in there. If you are going to be in Orlando and you're a Legion player or any mini war game player, we're having there's a convention called Crucible QuestCon here in Orlando, and we're having a grand tournament there. I'm going to be playing that. There's a painting competition as well. That's in September, so there's time left to sign up and check that out. It looks like it's going to be pretty fun, and so yeah, come on and hang out and have a good time, and that's about it. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you so much for watching, and big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing and help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all, and always wash your socks.